Hello everyone, it's Geek Girl back with another video. I kind of skipped a week, but it's been a little hectic lately, but we're gonna try to keep it on track. And I'm just gonna be honest when I post videos as I can. I tend to have a lot of things I'm trying to accomplish and do all the time, and also trying to do this YouTube channel. So it's been a journey. So my old channel, I had a video, kind of a rough one, about my tutorial on how to make spawning mops and collect eggs on Ricefish, and just a little bit about what they are and why I think they're cool. I've become a bit known for Ricefish, and that's because I have been slowly accumulating as many species as I can. I think as it stands right now, I have about 7 distinct species. I had closer to, well, I had 8, but I picked up some fry at a fish auction, and they were just really dinky and they just didn't pull through for me. So I have like 7 species right now, and then a few different varieties of the Japanese medaka. So you're gonna notice probably a lot of my videos, my cat interferes. I try to entertain him, give him something to do beforehand. Doesn't matter, he sees me in the room talking, he has to come over and knock things around and scream. So let's just get him on camera since he really wants to say hi. This is Keo, my snow Bengal. So he was also in my first Ricefish video, and he's still doing good. Still a little firecracker. So I'm trying right now to focus on producing more of my obscure wild variants of Ricefish. So I have 7 species of YZIAS. YZIAS is a genus of Ricefish, and they are their own kind of distinct thing. I touched on the other video that they're not quite a killifish, but they kind of breed like killifish or like rainbow fish, but they're in this like distinct order Balaniformes, which is more like some of the like Asian half-beaks and stuff like that. So they're weird. They're egg layers. They lay sticky clusters of eggs, and they'll lay them on just about anything they can rub against, whether that's live plants, whether that's your sponge filter, whether that's an intake tube, a string. They don't care. They're gonna rub their eggs off on whatever, and they seem to spawn pretty consistently. And I'm finding that most of these species, even the wild ones, even the more obscure species that are not your, standard laboratory animal like the Japanese medaka, have been for generations, but they're still breed very similarly. I would love to get one of the species that incubates their babies like to full term, stuck to the female's vent. So like they'll usually, after they mate, the Ricefish will swim around with like these little clusters of eggs stuck to their vent, and then, like I said, they usually rub them off. But there's at least one species, there might be more, that will actually not rub those eggs off and retain them stuck to her vent like that, and they develop and become eyed and fully developed embryos and then hatch out. And they're not really seen in the U.S. I think they're endangered. So there's some that are in like Europe, I believe. There's some hobbyists maintaining them, but they are not here in the U.S. And that's kind of the thing right now, is like it's very hard to get new varieties of Ricefish, whether that be the fancy ones. Like there's a lot of in demand, like tricolors and things like that are just not really fully here yet in the U.S. And then there's also just the wild varieties are just kind of just now showing up, it seems like, more frequently. At least when I was younger, I never saw these animals for sale, or at most it'd be like a YZIAS walrus, like the Daisy's Ricefish, and that was you might have seen Javanicus once in a while. In the last few years, I've seen some hobbyists local to me that have the Dancina. But yeah, I have things. I have like, I'm going to talk about in this video, I have YZIAS songcromensis that are breeding. I have YZIAS minutalis that are breeding. I have YZIAS mekongensis that are breeding. And those ones are, I consider those 3 like a dwarf variety. They call them dwarf medakas. They're all very similar and very like, yes, medakas in general are a small fish, but the dwarf ones are even smaller. And then surprisingly, I actually have some ricefish that are on the bigger end of the spectrum, the larger spectrum. There are actually some that can get like closer to like 2 inches or so, and I have some that are about that size. So I have a YZIAS matinensis, a Matano ricefish right now, and celebensis I would group in that area because they are bigger than even the biggest water ray I've ever seen. And those were like the biggest ricefish I'd seen before. So I'm geeked about them. I love ricefish. They're kind of my new kick right now. I'm hoping that if I get enough data on these guys, I can have my own little ricefish talk. Whenever I do talks, I try as much as possible to use my own content, my own videos, my own photos, my own first-hand experiences. I think it's just more valuable than Google searching it and throwing it in there and acting like you know about it. So that's the same with this channel. I'm not going to Google search everything and be like, I know all the things. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't. I'm still learning. But that's the fun of the fish hobby. The fun of the fish hobby is you are always learning. You are always a student. I always looked at my fish tanks as like my classroom, right? Or where I learn, the book that I'm like trying to decipher, like an ancient text or something. But instead of like an ancient text, it's a, you know, species, an unknown species that we don't know that much about maybe. So it's really exciting to me. It's like a little bit of discovery in your own house. So this video, I'm just going to touch on some of the ricefish that I have. I'm going to hopefully show you guys some egg collection and just highlight a few of them and some little things I've noticed about them, and get you a little more geeked about them. Just a little follow-up from the last video, and just to keep you guys, you know, informed and keep this channel rolling. So that's what I decided to do today. I think in the next few weeks I'll do some videos on probably live food culturing. I know I keep talking about an axolotl video. I've been kicking that down the road just because I know people are gonna be, you know. But I think I'll touch on that soonish. So look forward to that, and I'll flip this around and let's go in the fish room. Okay, everyone. I thought I would go ahead and take you on a journey of what it's like for me collecting ricefish eggs. Especially since I have several species now. So I'm gonna go over first and just give an overview of like what species I have currently that are breeding, and then well, Keo's gonna of course make an appearance. Just gave him wet food, but apparently that wasn't enough to keep him busy. Anywho, I'm gonna go through some of the wild type and fancy varieties of medaka and ricefish that I have. And then just sort of, we're gonna go ahead and do a little egg check and see what I can find. So yeah, let's take it away. So first we'll start out with the Matano ricefish. These are also known as YZIAS matinensis. These are actually a nicer, larger bodied species. I just did a water change on them, but you can see this is a 10-gallon tank, and I have 5 fish. And of these 5, I believe there's 2 boys and 3 girls. And I've been using mops, and I honestly have a few plecos in here too that are with them. I'm going to move them out soon, but they don't seem to bother any of the eggs, especially because most of them are going to be in the mops. But these guys, I don't know, they brush them off probably in driftwood sometimes too. So when I find stuff for these guys, it's usually on the bottom, where the mop, the very bottom of the mops, it seems like. What I noticed though with these guys is that so they're larger bodied, right? So ricefish typically don't get very big. Usually max about 2 inches or so. Well, these are going to be on your max side of things. They're the largest ricefish I've ever seen, and sorry for the glare there. Yeah. So, but even for that size, their eggs are pretty tiny. And, but yeah, so I have these guys. It's a new species to me. I think they retail for about 30 bucks a piece right now, so a nice one to breed if you're trying to make some money. That being said, you're not probably gonna get 30 bucks for your babies, unless you get them to be this size when you do sell them. But, yeah, I've been keeping them room temp. They seem to be doing fine. When I say room temp, it's about 72 to 73 degrees right now here. And now that we're in the summer months, I keep the AC on, but that's still about where it is. So I'm gonna go through and just talk about the different types of ricefish, and then I'll come back and we'll do individual egg checks for funsies. So bear with me. This is another species of mine. So I will say, with the wild type ricefish especially, so I have 3 species. The next we're going to look at are very similar in terms of both size and coloration. You can see right there is a male up front. It has some nice orange on his fins. These are the songcremensis, or YZIAS songcremensis, another wild type. And these guys stay small. The first small species of the dwarf medaka I got was a YZIAS minutalis. And then I got the songcremensis, and I've got mekongensis. And I'm going to say right now, these guys, they look very similar. So you want to make sure that you're being very diligent not to mix fry if you have all 3 of these species, or even just 2 of them. And keeping them separate from each other, like spatially and stuff. I try to, I'm going to try to label things pretty well. Like, I know what these guys are, I know where everyone is, but if anything happens to me, no one else will know. So get in a habit of labeling your fish is not a bad idea, especially if you have several species of one genus. One thing I want to point out is that these guys, they're babies. Let's see if I can focus on him. He's so tiny. There he is. So I stopped pulling eggs on these guys because babies just started spontaneously appearing. What I found with these smaller medaka, see one right here. Oh, there's a few. Phone does not want to focus on it. I do have a separate tank of some of these babies, some fry and eggs I pulled, but I stopped pulling for a little bit because I found that there was a decent amount surviving the tank with the adults. That only seems to be the case with the dwarf medaka. If you have lots of plant cover, I have a lot of duckweed and stuff in here, and they just, a decent amount seem to survive. I never see the parents chasing after these little ones that are in here. So it seems to be working out. So I've got some boost in there. Recommend using boost. They love to lay eggs in the roots and stuff like that too. But what I found is that when I hold the eggs on these guys, more often than not, like half of them would fungus and look horrible, but if I left them in the tank, they did better. This might be a case of some of these guys just do a lot better if you incubate them in like a normal tank, like put them in a 2.5 gallon or something, rather than using cups like I like to do sometimes. But yeah, so those are the songcremensis. I have at least 1 adult pair and about 4 subadults, and then there's a number of fry in here. I did notice that the male seemed like he killed several of the females, because I originally had a group of like 1 male and like 4 or 5 females that were ready to go. And yeah, there's the adult pair right there. You can see him coming up. There's the boy, and then there's the girl. And you see the sexual dimorphism in these guys. The female's a little bit bigger, and then also she doesn't have that bright neon orange on the anal fins. So, pretty cool. But yeah, at first I was noticing, I don't know if it was aggression or what, but it seemed like I was having a female go belly up every few days, and then now he's calmed down. The 1 female he's got left, he seems happy with. So I don't know if this is the one that you want to pair, but I do know there were some, yeah, there's some subadult ones. Oop. In that back corner back there, but now they went and hid. Anywho, yeah, so there's my songcremensis tank. And next, we're just going to go over to the next 2 dwarf ones, since I just talked about them. These are the mekongensis from the Mekong River in Thailand. And these ones look very similar to the songcremensis. Similarly, the males get like a little bit of a oranginess on their fins. This is kind of not the best tank right now. I could definitely do with a lot more plants. This is one of my more minimalistic setups where I might pull eggs off these floating mops and stuff for the sponge filter. Or sometimes they'll lay eggs on the little baggies of crushed coral, like the little, which I throw in there by the way to keep the pH nice. But yeah, these guys, I will say with all these dwarf medakas, I don't get a ton of eggs per day out per female. I want to say like maybe a half a dozen, 10 at most. So they're pretty lower on the prolific scale. I mean, they still breed a lot, but they just have fewer numbers of eggs is what I'm noticing. So those are the mekongensis. I do have, and here is a bit of a mix, and I actually have not gotten eggs from these guys yet. So I don't know if I'm going to even check today, because this tank's a little bit of a hodgepodge. I turned it into a quarantine tank, so these are celebensis, or YZIAS celebensis, another larger species. They're a little bit cheaper than matinensis, and I paid about $10-11 a piece on them. Actually kind of cool looking. I think it's a male. Actually, no. Well, the sexual dimorphism is a little more subtle with these guys. It's basically the like longer fin extensions on the. It's very subtle. So yeah, this thing's a mess. I had some barbs that I was QTing, and I just threw them in there because these celebensis haven't been breeding for me yet, so I may have to get more of them. But I know a guy, so I'll have to just get more at some point if they don't succeed. Anywho, and finally we're gonna go back here. Let's see here. These are the manuculus. I'm trying to get a good shot of them because this is I'm doing kind of similar to the Songchromensis. So these are my first like dwarf medaka. I know I did a video on my old channel about them. Oh my goodness. Actually, it looks like one of the females might be carrying eggs right now, but of course they're nice and hidden in the back. And Kia was not happy with me per usual. So you can guys. Oh goodness, I am so sorry. So I'll move back to focus. Yep, there they are. I think the one female coming up right now may have some eggs on her. These guys, unlike the Songchromensis and the Mekongensis, oh, my camera does not want to focus on these guys. Unlike those two, they don't seem to have much coloration in the fins or anything like in the males. They just seem like a straight silvery kind of bodied fish. Still kind of a neat little fish, but yeah, they're not letting me get any glamour shots today. I'm kind of doing a similar thing with the Songchromensis for these guys in the sense that I am trying to just throw plants in there and let babies appear, because I had difficulty raising babies on their own, but then fry would just appear. And so actually there's adults in here, but there's also half-grown babies that I've raised out since I've had them. I think I sold a group of like 5 or 6 babies. So just to kind of get someone else in the hobby to have them, but they've been very, very slow growing, I've noticed too. For some reason, it's bizarre because like a lot of ricefish I talk about, but they're pretty quick growing, which is why like the Japanese ricefish, the YZIAS latipas, like those ones grow really fast. So they're used in labs because when you want to have a model organism, you want faster generation time. So those guys grow really fast, but these guys, I don't know, their babies remind me of like rainbow fish. They just seem like they grow really slow. The dwarf species, I mean. But, anywho. Besides that, so I had some Dancina. There's only a couple of them left, and I'm not really going to highlight them. I bought some Javanicus at an auction, and they didn't do so hot for me. But they were fry. I think they were just sold way too young. Well, you can see the eggs on this female, maybe. I almost wonder. No, you can see that. Never mind. Oh goodness. So there's the cluster of eggs on that female right there. Oh, my phone does not like focusing, especially with all the plants. So we're just gonna go straight from here into our basically our fancy medakas. So I've got for fancies. This is a mix. So I have been mixing and matching a few types. I know, shame on me, whatever. There's like some red cap, sparkle blue, and orange in here. And let me tell you, a lot of those different varieties seem like just different varying grades of each other. So this is primarily orange with some red cap. And I think it was pretty female heavy. And then I added like an orange, because I needed to add some males, so I think I added like a sparkle blue. And I think I have one sparkle blue boy in here, and this one right here. Anyway, I had to move some things around. So, but I think they used that mop. So I think I'm hopeful that I'm gonna find some eggs in these guys today, decent amount, but we'll find out. So I've got those. And then I've got down here, which I think are very sharp. These ones I am keeping pure. These are my apologies. Someone messaged me in the middle of filming this video and I accidentally tapped on it to make it go away and it ended the video. So, these are my platinum medakas, the Japanese medakas. They're actually, I think, one of the prettier varieties that we have right now in the US. Very shimmery and sparkly. This is my group right now. I've been working with these guys for a couple years now. So when the aquatics department shut down from the place I used to work before, these were one of the ones I wanted to keep working with, so I got some of their babies, and these are descendants from those, so probably should bring some new blood in eventually, but so far they're doing good. These are ones I'm keeping pure because, yeah, they look nice. This is a little different, sort of. So these are my midnight medakas. They're actually mixed with some celestial pearl fry, so I apologize. And I noticed that one of my midnights ended up having really orangey fins. And then some of the midnight mixes in here ended up producing some weird, maybe I mixed some sparkle blue or something, but they almost like brindle, like, I don't know, they're different looking. They're almost like this one right here is a little bit like whiter with like almost like a few like blotches. I want to almost call it like a dirty, brindly kind of look to them. Oh my goodness. The camera is still not wanting to focus. There we go. Yep, there it is. So it's kind of interesting. So I kind of left it in there. And then these are some, I'm going to separate them out, I think. I ended up throwing some grow out CPDs, which by the way, some of these I believe are long fin babies. Just waiting to see how they turn out. I'm holding back a lot of my long fins now. Or just all my CPDs in general. I'm not selling this summer. I'm waiting till the fall. I'm hoping to start releasing some. I'm hoping I can put some on Aquabit at some point and see if people want to, see what people think of them. But for now, just raising them out. But these are my midnights, which are kind of the polar opposite of these platinums. And then that'll take us to, I think finally, I'll show you. It's kind of a hodgepodge tank again, but I've got some like almost like galaxy pearl, orange, and like red cap. And some of them look weird, almost like koi-ish, like, but not quite. I've got some little bristlenose fry in here. I've got some panda guppy. Females look like they're gonna explode right now, to be honest. Probably should move them out if I want to get some babies. So yeah, it's a little bit of a hodgepodge tank, but there's word grow outs, and I need to separate them out and try to figure out, okay, what ones do I want to breed and put together. Some of these are just flat out culls, I'm going to be honest. Some just have like crooked spines or missing parts of their tail or whatever, but a lot of them seem okay. So this is kind of what's left over from my orange and sparkle blue grow outs. And yeah. So I think the last thing I'm going to show here, just some Ricefish bibbies. Give you an idea. There are CPD babies in here too, but the ones like they're a little more orangey hovering near the top, those are all Ricefish. Those are actually Matano Ricefish babies, which I'm really excited about. And I'm working on getting a bunch more eggs and stuff. The Ricefish kind of slowed down for me for a minute. There were some Song Formensis babies in here. There's one right there actually in the front. You can see. But there's also some CPDs in here. I throw CPDs kind of everywhere. I'm poking around. Here's some baby panda guppies, and on the back are my baby diamond tetras. I think I have, there's a couple in another tank, and there's like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 in here. So maybe like 8 or 9 babies. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to do a separate video on these guys at some point. These are my Scarlet Badass babies. I've got a couple, actually like 3 or 4 tanks of these guys right now. Seem to be doing good. I did throw some Ricefish babies in here, but I think they must have eaten them, so I'm not gonna do that again. So yeah, that's where we're at right now, and I will go ahead and start pulling some eggs, and if I see anything, I'll show you guys in the video. Okay, so this is an egg on this mop right here. This is from this group, the orange and the sparkled and all that. I am going to have some difficulty doing this one-handed. But what I do next is I typically get little cups like this, and I will use them to collect the eggs into. I'll sort of find the eggs, and then I'm gonna have to get a light on here and do this, but I'll take them and I'll put them into the cup, and I'll add methylene blue, and I'll mark what they are, and I'll probably date it too. That's kind of how I keep tabs on things. It does take about a couple weeks once you find the eggs to get them to hatch. So yeah, these are just vinyl gloves that I use. Whatever is cheaper. It doesn't have to be like latex or anything too fancy. I just do that as precaution, just so I don't have eggs sticking and going from place to place. So yeah. So here I'm going to show you some more eggs. This is what I affectionately call hunting for treasure. You can see all these little eggs in here, and this is from a group of platinum ricefish, so I'm pretty happy to see those. So I'm gonna get a cup. One thing I want to say is, you know, I wear gloves and I separate them between different species because these eggs are very sticky, and the last thing I want to do is mix up my species. Less of an issue with the fancy medakas because they are all the same species, but once you start doing wild types that look very similar, like the Songcromensis or the Mekongensis, you know, Menudulus, those ones, like, mix them up, that's a bad time. So I just make a habit of changing out my gloves between different tanks. So anywho, I'm gonna get a little cup for these guys, add some methylene blue and a little bit of tank water, and we'll date it and label it, and I'll get these guys ready to incubate. It's okay here, this is actually a Cory tank. I don't know if you guys can see in here. I don't know if they're going to move around at all, but there was, I put a few of my first Cory fry in here, and I've got a whole lot more that I'm going to be putting in another tank. I don't know if oh, there's one. There's one. Here's one. You can kind of see him. Yep, there he is, right there. This is a Scleromastix barbatus Cory fry. But I've got a whole bunch more fry that I'm putting a bare bottom tank up here. So, and yeah, I used to have the Dancing, I have to scrape this. So, anyway. Yep, so I'm gonna get the cups that I use for these guys. A lot of times I will just use your standard, well, these are just the lids. I have to go find more cups somewhere. But I use, let's look at my cups. These are the lids, but I use basically just your standard little deli sauce cups. That works just fine. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can actually see a few of them I've used in the past. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do with these guys. And they can be suspended out of the water like that for a little bit. It's not a big deal. Keep them moist and damp, they're fine. Just unless they hatch, they need to be in water. So, yeah. Okay, so I tried checking out a couple other tanks before, just see if I could find some eggs and see if I can get some on film for you guys. Looks like right now I can find some Menudulus eggs. I checked the Metano ricefish and there weren't really any visible eggs. But like I said, they have pretty small eggs, and that tank has some that tank has some ancestress in there. So I need to move some things around to probably find more eggs. Anywho, these are YZIAS Menudulus eggs. As you can see, still a decent size. And then this is the group that is producing those eggs. And I was actually a little bit shocked to find them because of all the plant cover in here, because typically when there's plant cover, they'll lay their eggs in plants. But it looks like they'll still use the scrubbies occasionally too, so that's cool. And I'm going to show you guys, that's going to probably be it for right now, but essentially these eggs take about 2 weeks to hatch. So I've got these guys right here for a second. So these are all the ones I collected from the platinum Ricefish. And you can actually see a lot of them are eyed up. So that means when you collect eggs, sometimes you'll find ones that are further along. And that just means that they're going to hatch sooner than 2 weeks. The ones that are fresh eggs, that you don't see the embryo and you don't see the eyeballs or anything, those ones will take the full time to gestate or develop and then hatch. So, anywho, I'm not wearing gloves right now because those are my last ones I was looking at. So, I'm not pulling any more eggs. I'm going to call it a night. And, oh, I did put these little Cory cat babies up here. And these new ones. I thought I would show you guys. So I was trying to show you some of the older babies. But these are the brand new ones. And a little pro tip, they almost always congregate underneath things when they're this size. So it's always a good idea to put a little bit of pebbles underneath. That way when you drop the sponge in, you're not squishing them. It's a little trick I learned. I used to work in a breeding room. But yeah, basically keep little pebbles on the bottom so you're not, you know, crushing them. Because these guys doing on the bottom. But those are my little baby Corys. So yeah, well, that'll be it for now. I'm gonna wrap it up now. Hey guys, so I thought I'd finish up the video. I took this off the tripod because Mr. Keo up there earlier was trying to push the phone. I'm using my phone right now. I was trying to push it out. Yes, he was. Yeah, don't. Now he's playing. He's being shy now. So I thought I'd just grab the phone this time just for the little exit message here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you tuned in, I hope you got something out of this. I hope you're a little bit geeked about Ricefish now. If you feel inspired and you start working with them, I want to hear about it. If you've already worked with them and you have some experiences you want to share below, go ahead and comment. And I'll hopefully see you guys next week with another video. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.